today. So, so I hope everyone's having a great day. It's good to see everybody. I have had some really good conversations with you and some of your parents over the last few days, and so it's been really nice to have those conversations and during parent-teacher conferences and everything. But it's good to see you guys. It's good to have you guys here, and we'll work on some things, and I'll kind of go over some stuff with you, some of the things that I am seeing, and we'll make sure that we get this information out to you. Make sure that you have everything that you need to be successful in class. I am always here for you, so don't sit there and struggle in silence. Please, please, please don't do that. But I'm going to go ahead and go over some of the things. So I know that you guys have started in on the mathematical processes and things like that. And today, the 2.02 is the one that is due today. And because 2.03 is a little bit difficult, I want to make sure that there are a few things that we go over and we touch base on, so that you have the opportunity to be successful and answer any questions that you may have between now and then. So, okay, there she is. And so if there's any questions about anything, please let me know. Like I said, 2.03 is not due until next week, but I want to make sure that we hit on a few things to make sure that everyone's on the same page, to make sure that we don't have any questions and all that good stuff, because it is a little bit of a hard one. I'm not going to lie. It is a hard one. So I want to make sure that everyone's got everything good to go. Okay, so with numerical inputs and with numerical information on the mathematical portions, with 2.01 and going into 2.02, what have you guys run into any issues? I don't know if I believe that. I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and take a look at a few things just to review and just to make sure, because I want to make sure, I just double checking. I'm going to cover myself and make sure that I cover you guys and everything else, because I want you all to be as successful as absolutely possible. So let me share my screen with you. And worst case scenario, it's just a review. Okay, and then that way you get double the information, and you'll have this stuff out there for you. Okay, so one of the main things that you all learned about when you started this was an integer, right? So anyone want to tell me what an integer is? Which is an int in Python. What's an integer? Since you all said you knew all this stuff, what's an integer? A number without a decimal. So it's a whole number. We call it a whole number. Okay. You know, and you can even, if it's easier for you to say that, you can say number without a decimal. Okay. And this can be negative or positive. Okay. What about a float? What's a float? A number with a decimal, right? Numbers with decimals. Okay. So we have our numbers without decimals, and we have our numbers with decimals. Okay. Integer and float, right? We got that. Strings. What are strings? Tell me what a string is. A string is a data type. What kind of data type is it? That is correct. It is the data type. What kind of data type is it? Okay, so these are the integer. This is the float. So now we have a string. A string is our text. Okay, strings are our text. So these are our text or characters. Okay, so and when I say characters, that means like if we're just going to write the letter A, B, C, the letter I, that kind of stuff. If you have a string of text, or if you have like if you have a word, that's a string of text. So that kind of stuff. So string is text or characters. All right. And so, and then we have this feature here. What does this mean when we're in code? What does this mean when we use that in code? What does that mean? To insert something? Yes, but who would insert it? Who would put the information in? The user, yes. So we're asking, this is when we're asking for user input. Okay, so we're putting in our code that we are expecting the user to put some to respond. Okay, and then when we are putting something together, when we're joining two things together, what are we doing? You remember the term for that? I know that some of this is review, but I want to make sure that everybody knows. What do we do when we are joining things together? I'll give you a hint. It starts with a C. There you go, concatenating. Very good, concatenation. Okay, and we do this. This is joining item. This is the joining of items. Okay, and we do this. We show this in our code. With a plus symbol. Ah. Okay. Is this all making sense? Okay. So, and then, so these are some of the things that are covered in the first couple of modules with like 2.01 and 2.02. So the 2.02 was due today. Okay. And then, so those are some of the things that are covered. And then strings and concatenation were covered in previous lessons, but I think that there were still some issues with that. So I wanted to make sure that we covered that information and that we were still on track with that. So now the other thing I want to ask you is, what is a variable? Does anyone remember what this is? A variable. This is something that was also in the 1.0 units. Nope, no. You can try again, keep trying. What's the variable? We're talking about computer coding. What does a variable do? What is a variable? Okay, so last time that we met, we talked about variables being similar to buckets, okay? Variables are the buckets. They are buckets that hold information for us. So the variables, they are storage for data, basically. That's pretty much what they are. They are storage for data. And it can change. Yes, absolutely. It can change depending on the conditions of what the program is being called for. So it does, it holds information in the program. So like I said, the way that I look at variables is a bucket. Okay. It's a bucket. I am not an artist, so please do not judge my bucket. Okay. So I think of variables as a bucket. All right. I can name my bucket anything I want to name it. I can name it. So let's call my bucket X. All right. So right now my bucket has nothing in it. My bucket has nothing in it. There's nothing that X is holding for me. Okay. But if I take a 0 and I put that inside my bucket, then now my bucket is holding the 0 for me. So in a code format, it would look like X, my variable, is assigned the value 0. Okay, so my bucket has been given the value 0. Okay, does that make sense? So just think of a variable as something that holds something else. Now, if the program causes it to change, then your bucket's going to be holding another, then this value here is going to change. But right now, just think of a variable as simply something that holds data. It holds information for you. It's a name that holds information. Okay. So also, I want to make sure that you all do realize that equal sign in Python does not mean equal to. The equal sign in Python means that you have been assigned the value. Okay. You are assigning the value of something. So I want to make sure that you remember that. Okay. So any questions so far? Any questions so far? We good? I know that some of this is just a review, but I want to make sure that we're going through all of it and everything. And all that good stuff. Okay, everyone's good. All right. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is and I will pull it up really quick. Where is it at? Okay, can you see my screen where I'm on the Buzz platform? Okay. Okay. So in Buzz, in the math module page, it talks about this, the power and the squirt, as I like to call it, the square root. I call it squirt, but it's pow or square root. And you get this by going to the math module or the math, using the math module in Python. Okay. Now this is for 2.03. This is the one that's coming up for next week. Like I said, this one's harder. And so I want to talk about this just a little bit. When you do this particular section, it's important that you are familiar with the math import function. Okay. So let me go back over here so I can write it down. When you are creating when you, I'm just dividing this up. Okay, the math module. Okay. When you create something for math and when you're using the math module, you have to import it from Python. It's from math import is what they said, I believe. Yes. And when you do that, what you're doing is you're calling on functions that Python already has built in. Okay. Python already has specific functions built in. So you use this use in your code. And at the very beginning. Okay. Because you want to make sure that your code knows that you are pulling from the math import function feature of Python, because Python has things already built in for you so that you do not have to recreate anything. Okay, does that make sense? So you're not having to recode any information that Python already has created for you, as long as you pull in this information here. Okay, but if you do not write those keywords on the screen with a little asterisk beside it, then it won't work. You'll get an error message. Okay. So far, so good. Yeah. Okay. All right. No, wait, I didn't switch over. Okay. Sorry. This is what I wrote down. Sorry. If you don't write these words on this, this is what I wrote down. I was writing stuff down and I thought you could see it. You guys got to tell me when you can't see my writing stuff. Sometimes I forget to switch over. So you'll put it in the, like I said, you'll put your code at the very beginning of your code. Whenever you're writing code, not pseudocode, your regular code. Okay. Okay, so this is, I want to make sure that we say that this is vocabulary. So this is vocab. And this is part of 2.03. All right. So two of the functions that are really going to be important for you to know are the POW. Okay, it looks like that. Sorry, I'm on my screen again. It looks like POW. And the other one is SQRT. Okay. Does anyone know what to the power of means? What does to the power of mean? What does it mean when someone says to the power of something? So like 4 to the power of 2, what does that mean? How many times you times it by? Yes. So it's something, if you're familiar with your math, it kind of is, it looks like that. You guys seen that in math before? Yeah. Okay. So if it says something to the power of, that would be what they were saying. So think about it that way. That's to the power of. Okay. So if I said square root, if I wanted to find the square root of something, then what would that be? Dividing. Okay, that's pretty close. You remember this funky little symbol from math? This little check mark division symbol? You guys remember that? Have you seen that before? They still use this symbol in math? Yeah. Okay, that's the square root symbol. So if I said 3, what's the square root of, okay, what's the square root of 4? What's the square root of 4? So if I said 4, what would be the square root of 4? 2. Yep, 2. Okay. So the power looks in your mind, you can, if you want to say power, this is what it does. Square root, this is what it does. Okay. So when you're familiar with math, now you can kind of see in your head what these two things do. Okay. So that'll, maybe it will help you visualize what those two items do. Okay. Which are these, like I said, are these two things right here. Okay. For those two areas. Cool. So far so good. Okay. All right, let's see what else I got on here. Okay. So when you are writing to the power 2 on code, all right. So if we're doing code and computer, if we're doing the computer code part of it, you would take what you were going to multiply. Okay, so like, I know this gives us the example of 100. Okay, but if I took, as long as I used POW and I had my parentheses, I could pick any number. So I could do 250 and then comma to the power of 2. Okay. And then it's going to come out with the answer for that. Okay. So this would be the integer, right? The integer is the whole number. And then what is this called in math? What is that called? Oh, sorry. Thank you. What is this called in math? What is that called? So sorry, if you're writing computer code, I'll go over that again because you guys couldn't see my paper. If you're writing code, okay, you're going to write it POW, and it would be like, you could have any integer. Okay, so 250 would be your integer. That's the first thing that goes in there. Okay, and you're right. You guys are right. The ones who are saying exponent, this is the exponent. The second one, always the second one, and after the comma is going to be the exponent. Okay, so that's what you're raising the power to. That's what you're putting in that next one. Okay, so it could be 10, it could be 20. You're raising it to the 20th power, whatever you want to raise it to. All right, so however you want to do that. Okay, so everyone understand how to write that and how that works? Okay, and then, okay. And then we have square root. Square root is it's very similar. It looks like this. Okay. So when you're wanting the square root, again in code, you would do print square root. And then all you would have to do is put whatever number you wanted. It's just the integer. So you would, like, we could put 352. So any integer, just whole number. Okay. My lights just went off because nobody's moving in my room. Okay. So far, so good? Okay. All right, let's see if there's anything else. I've kept you guys here for quite a while today, and I want to make sure. I want you guys, okay, please, please, please do me a favor, please. I know that a lot of you are not doing this just because I can see the work that you do and it's not happening. And I don't say everybody, I just say some of you, because I think if you do these things and you really practice with these activities on your textbook, it will help you so very, very much. Okay. Go through these activities that are in your textbook. Okay. Please go through them, read what they're asking you to do, things like that. And then the last thing on here is the assignment. Okay. The assignment. And like I said, I know the assignment's a little tough. So it's not due until next week. So take your time. Don't rush through it. If you've already turned it in, you can go back and read and take a look at it. I know some people have gone through it and things like that, but take your time. All right. I'm going to post it on Classroom so that you guys have access to this 2.03. And if you, again, 2.02 quiz is due today. If you're having trouble with that, definitely let me know. But so does anyone have any questions about what we went over today or anything like that? You guys feel better? You guys feel better about the stuff that we're talking about? Does it make you okay? Yeah. Okay. Well, like I said, guys, and Bree, you know better. I'm always here for you. You should know this by now. You've had me, this is your second year to have me. You know this. So if you guys need something, you let me know. And if anyone needs me after class today, I'm going to hang out here for a little bit. You guys hang out, and I will, after the recording's over, after I stop the recording, I'll hang out here for a little while, and you guys can just jump on and stay on, and we'll chat, and I'll help you out. Okay. All right. You guys have a fantastic afternoon, and whatever you need help with, just let me know. I'll talk to y'all later.